Hey, this one goes out to Big John. Uh, Sitting down here in the boys' room and trying to kill a little bit of time. I finished up on the bathroom, got me a cup of coffee, come down here and just kind of hang out. Parker ain't around, and that's probably a good thing because this ain't the cleanest joke in the world. Well, it ain't really dirty, but it's funny as hell. Anyhow, talked to the old man the other day, and he said he got a letter from the IRS. And he said, he called me and he said, "Hey, Mark," he said, "we got a little problem." He said, "Got this letter from the IRS, and they're saying that they're going to have to call me in and possibly do an audit, or at least get some discussion about all this money that's going in and out of his account, large sums of money." And so I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And he said, "Well, come on down." He said, "We'll go down there Monday," and which was this past Monday here. And of course, stay-at-home order, but IRS calls you, you ain't got no choice. So he said, "Come down early, and we'll go on down to Jacksonville and meet up with the agent and see what's going on." So I said, "Okay." So Monday morning, got up bright and early and headed down to south, and for about 3.5 hours later, got down there to go to Jacksonville and pulled up and got in the old man's car, and he said, "Well, we're going to have to stop by and pick up my lawyer." I said, "Pick up a lawyer for IRS?" "Yeah," he said, "I gotta have a lawyer. I don't want to go in there without a lawyer." And he said, "You ain't a lawyer, are you?" And I said, "I'm far from a lawyer. I ain't apt to tell a lie, no matter who's going to benefit." So anyhow, he said, "Okay." He said, "Just swing by." I said, "Well, we'll just take my car because yours too small." I said, "Here, we'll take that's Laura's car, really, because I got a truck and it's big, but it's the old man wouldn't want to pay the gas bill in that mother. I guarantee you that." But anyway, that's another story right there. Anyhow, we head around on the main drag there, pick up the highfalutin lawyer there, and I told him he's going to have to ride in the back seat because the old man's already in the front seat and he's kind of crippled up, so we wasn't moving around. Unless he wanted to drive, he could sure drive, but he didn't want to. So away we go, headed down 95 South. So about 30, 40 minutes later, wasn't a lot of traffic, but there was some traffic. You ain't going to see when Suicide Alley, there's traffic. You know that. So anyhow, we lots of trucks, man. There's still a lot of trucks. Anyhow, we pulls up to the big federal building and head up to the IRS part, floor, or whatever it is. And of course, we wasn't no hurry, but we took the elevator naturally. And the old lawyer, he just tagged along pretty good. So got up there and everybody did their howdy do's and introduction and what have you, and sit down. And so the IRS agent, he started talking to the old man. He said, "Hey, Mr. Samples," he said, "we got a problem here." He said, "You got a large amount of money going in and out of this account." And he said, "We got to get some answers here." He said, "We're probably going to have an audit anyway," but he said, "We're going to definitely have to have some answers." So he ends up asking him. He said, "Hey, can you give me some insight to this? Maybe we won't have to have an audit, but The old man looks at him right in the eyes and he said, "Hey," he said, "I'm going to be honest with you." He said, "I got a little, not a gambling problem, but I like to make bets." He said, "You like to make bets, sir?" And the old IRS guy said, "You don't have to call me sir," but he said, I might, once in a while, but he said, "I still don't explain this huge sums of money going in and out of this account." So the old man said, "Well," he said, "I'll tell you what," he said, "if you'd like," he said, I'll bet you $5,000 that I can bite my eyeball." Looking at agent square in the eye, he looks at the old man and he says, I'm probably shouldn't do that on time, federal time." He said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to take you up on that bet." So Old man said, okay. He said, cash on the barrelhead, right? And he said, yeah. He said, cash on the barrelhead. He said, little bit, he reaches up and pulls out his glass eye and bites it, puts it back in, looks the agent straight in the eye, and he says, you owe me $5,000. Yeah, the agent, he just kind of sat back in his chair, and, you know, a big old comfortable chair. We had the uncomfortable son of a guns. Of course, the lawyer ain't said nothing yet. I don't even know why the hell the old man brought him, but, you know, he's 90 years old, so he been around a lot longer than I have, so. But he has taught me a few things, you know, too, and don't forget that. A little bit, he told that agent, you know, he said, hey, you know, now you get an idea. He said, I get win. He said, I put a little bit in. He said, I might have to take some out. I lose, whatever. He said, you get the idea? And he said, well, he said, there's just lots and lots of these exchanges. He said, I just can't, that just don't explain it. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, how about I bet you $7,500 that I can bite my other eye? Yeah, the IRS agent, you know, he's thinking, man, this cat, I don't know whether to bet him or not. That's 12.5. I'm going to be out if I do. But he said, man, I just can't figure it out. He said he didn't have no seeing eye dog. He didn't have no cane. He said nobody helped him. He said, ain't no way he can have two glass eyes. So he said, a little bit, he said, thinking, and rubbed his chin a little bit, even though it was, you know, taboo right now. But he didn't get his mouth, but he got his chin. But anyhow, he said, I'll tell you what, Mr. Samples, I'm going to take you up on that bet. So old Ray, he said, okay. So he pulled his false teeth out of his mouth and bit his other eye. Put his false teeth back, and he said, okay. He said, you're down 12.5. Of course, the IRS agent, he just about had a fit. He said, this is ridiculous. He said, I just don't know what I'm going to do or say. He said, well, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I'm not one to hold a grudge or nothing like that. He said, I'll give you the chance to win the money back. He said, if you want, that's totally up to you. He said, or we can just call today and say the meeting's over and we'll all get out of here and let the chips fall where they may. So the old IRS agent, he got to thinking, and the old man looks over at me, and I'm thinking, oh no, this ain't good. This right here ain't good. But I didn't let on because I know you don't. A little bit, the IRS agent, he says, well, what you got in mind, Mr. Samples? He said, well, he said, I'll tell you what. Ray said, I noticed you had a pretty good sized trash can there beside your desk. He said, you take that trash can, set it over across the room, and he said, I'll guarantee you. Matter of fact, I'll bet you $15,000. That'll pretty well square you up. You might come out ahead a little bit. He said, that I can piss in that trash can, clean across the room, and I won't spill a drop on the floor between here and there. Well, that IRS agent, he said, that wasn't, boom. He said, you got that bet. So he picks the trash can up over the other side of the room, sets her down. About that time, the old man stands up, pulls his dick out of his pants, pisses all over that IRS agent's desk. Man, I mean, I backed up, slid the chair back. The lawyer, he's got his head in his hands, and he don't know what to think, I guess. I don't know what was going on at that point. I just get out of the way. About that time, the old man began to laugh, and the lawyer laughed too, or the IRS agent laughed too. He was up $2,500. A little bit, I told the lawyer, I said, hey, sir, I said, what's wrong with you? And he said, Jesus Christ, he said, I bet your old man $100,000 that he'd piss all over that agent's desk and he'd be glad.